This is the Cholo News Report for Wednesday 04 September 2019. The Institute for Supply Management releases numbers that indicate that manufacturing activity in the United States declined in the month of August, the first such decline in 3 years. With trade tensions simmering in the background, the Federal Reserve is expected to cut interest rates again this month to keep the economic expansion, now in its 11th year, on track. The Fed lowered its short-term interest rate by 25 basis points in July, for the first time since 2008, citing trade tensions and slowing global growth. Walmart announces it will stop selling ammunition for handguns and some assault weapons in all of its American stores in response to a shooting that left 22 dead and 24 injured at one of its El Paso, Texas stores last month. They, along with Kroger, also asked customers not to bring guns into their stores. Kroger had sold guns in 43 of its Fred Meyer stores in the Pacific Northwest and Alaska before announcing in March 2018 that it would exit the firearms business. The latest move will leave Walmart focused on weapons for hunting, including deer rifles, shotguns and related ammunition. Search and rescue efforts for those remaining missing off the Californian coastline are called off as the National Transportation Safety Board arrives to launch a federal investigation. NSP investigators converged Tuesday to Southern California to begin probing the cause of a deadly fire on a commercial dive boat that presumably left 34 people dead during a Labor Day weekend scuba dive in the waters off the Southern California coast. The investigators were set to interview the 5 crew members who survived the fire aboard the Conception that was anchored off Santa Cruz Island on Monday, when it became engulfed in flames. We're sensitive to the fact that families have gathered, some from out of the area, to bring their loved ones home, said Santa Barbara County Fire Chief Mark Hartwig, who joined the sheriff and U.S. Coast Guard in sharing word that the search for survivors was suspended on Tuesday morning. Bahamian Prime Minister Hubert Minnis confirms 2 more people have been killed by Hurricane Dorian, raising the death toll to 7. At least 7 deaths were reported, with the full scope of the disaster still unknown. The storm's punishing winds and muddy brown floodwaters destroyed or severely damaged thousands of homes, crippled hospitals and trapped people in attics. With their heads bowed against heavy wind and rain, rescuers began evacuating people from the storm's aftermath across Grand Bahama late Tuesday, using jet skis, boats and even a huge bulldozer that cradled children and adults in its digger, as it cut through deep waters and carried them to safety. Late Tuesday, Dorian was centered about 95 miles. NASA satellite imagery through Monday night showed some places in the Bahamas had gotten as much as 35 inches of rain, said private meteorologist Ryan Mock. A wave of xenophobic attacks on migrants in South Africa, particularly targeting Nigerian citizens, continues into its 6th day. South Africa has been hit by an outbreak of attacks on migrants from other African countries as the nation prepared to host a meeting of political and business leaders from across the continent. The attacks come ahead of the beginning of the African edition of the World Economic Forum in Cape Town on September 4, and before a state visit to South Africa by President Muhammadu Buhari of Nigeria, a country whose nationals have been affected, next month. More than 20 people were arrested in connection with attacks on trucks, possession of firearms and other weapons and blocking of roads in Richards Bay, a key port, and other parts of the southeastern KwaZulu-Natal province, police said.